All right, beautiful. Thank you for joining me for a 60-minute yoga for deep relaxation and stress relief yoga class. My name is Holly. My pronouns are she, her. This is a floor-based class. You will want a yoga mat and or carpeted area. And you might want, or you will want some pillows and maybe blankets of different sizes. I actually just realized I forgot my blanket, so I'm gonna grab one. It's nice to be in a small apartment where everything is close by. So if you also need to grab pillows or blankets, you're welcome to do so. In this class, I'm going to leave us plenty of time to just kind of relax and be still, but I'm also going to explain a little bit of the neuroscience behind how yoga can help us relax and get out of a kind of a stress response. One thing that I think is really cool about yoga is it's, thousands of years old, and there's tons of techniques like breathing exercises, simple body movements, and even eye movement that yoga has used to help people relax for a really long time. And Western science and more and more like scientific studies are starting to prove, I think, what yogis have anecdotally known for a long time. So I'll offer both the ancient roots of these stress relief relaxation practices, as well as kind of like the modern scientific parlance behind them. So we're going to start in a comfortable seated position. You can sit crisscross applesauce or in Sukhasana easy pose with one foot in front of the other. Can rock back and forth, side to side. And throughout class, remember that this is your practice. This is your body. And if at any point something that I'm suggesting does not work for you, you're welcome to modify a posture, do something else, or skip it entirely, right? This is your time. You can roll your shoulders forward a few times and backward a few times, and then just relax your shoulders and sit up nice and tall. So part of what we're going to do in this class is to work into our central nervous system. As you may know, the parasympathetic nervous system is kind of the rest and digest nervous system. When we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, or the PNS, we tell the body that there's no need to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And there's some of our nerves that are in our body really specifically play into the parasympathetic nervous system response. So we're going to be activating those nerves throughout class, starting with a lovely breathing exercise that you may have practiced before. It's called Ujjayi Breathing. If you've done 26 and 2 yoga with me, our beginning breath is a version of Ujjayi breath. So your throat is gently constricted like a valve, so you can breathe a little slower and longer. Sometimes called ocean breath because the sound kind of sounds like when you're at the beach and you hear the ocean kind of lapping up against the sand. I've found that the sound does not carry particularly well on Zoom, so you might not be able to hear much, but just know that it's a gentle snoring sound against the back of your throat that almost creates a vibration in the throat. And the science behind this, the neuroscience behind this, is that we're stimulating or activating the vagus nerve. The vagus in Latin means wandering. The vagus nerve is a cranial nerve. It goes from your brain, and it's almost like a net that goes all the way through all of your organs, which is pretty cool. And its main job is to make sure that your organs are functioning. And also to help calm you down. So the vagus nerves goes through the lungs, for example. So when we stimulate the lungs with an intentional slow exhale, we stimulate the parasympathetic nervous response through the vagus nerves. That's what we're practicing here. So we're going to start by inhaling slowly through the nose and then exhaling slowly through the mouth. And after a couple of rounds, we can go into inhaling and exhaling through the nose. You are welcome to close your eyes or do a soft, fuzzy gaze just beyond the tip of your nose. And if, having your eyes closed is a little bit scary, right? You're always welcome to keep your eyes totally open as well. Sit up tall, relax your jaw, seal your lips, place your tongue at the roof of your mouth behind your teeth. And begin. You're going to slowly inhale through the nose against the back of the throat, creating a little bit of a vibration, snoring sensation. Fill your lungs up, find your edge. When you're ready, you're going to open your mouth and slowly exhale through the mouth. An HA ha sound sounds a bit like this. Slowly exhale until your lungs are empty. At your own pace, slowly inhale through the nose against the back of the throat, against Ujjayi breathing. Whenever you're ready, slowly open your mouth and exhale. Again, sounds a little bit like waves at the beach. Inhale through the nose. You're learning to breathe a little slower, longer, deeper. Open your mouth. Slowly exhale through the mouth. We'll continue a few more breaths like this. And as you're breathing, I will talk us through a little bit more of the neuroscience. With stress relief, there's something called heart rate variability. In general, when you inhale, it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system response, the heart rate increases. And when you exhale, it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, so the heart rate slows. In healthy, relaxed individuals, we have good heart rate variability. That is to say, our heart rate naturally increases with the inhale and naturally decreases with the exhale. With folks who are in a state of stress or have chronic, maybe even post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, the heart rate variability goes way down. And we now have studies that are confirming what, anecdotally yogis have known for a long time, which is that yoga and pranayama breath work, like Ujjayi breathing, are really good for heart rate variability, right? So you're starting to observe your body rise and fall with the breath. And you're learning how to exhale as well. And again, as we exhale, we bring the body into the parasympathetic nervous system response. So not only are we working on heart rate variability, but by creating this vibration in our lungs, we're also stimulating the vagus nerve, right? And that's part of how we really start to relax and calm down. You're welcome to continue inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Or if you'd like, you can try the same Ujjayi breath, but in and out through the nose. So now both are both inhale and exhale are through the nose. So inhaling through the nose, taking it slow. And when you're ready, exhaling through the nose or the mouth, up to you. Breathe in. And slowly breathe out. And as a reminder, the pranayama limb, the breath work limb of yoga, is a part of a yoga practice. So if you're wondering, like, when do we get to moving our body? When do we get to yoga? This is actually part of our yoga practice, right? You very much are moving your body. Feel your body rise and fall with the inhale and exhale. So you feel that little vibration in the throat and the lungs that, again, is stimulating the vagus nerve, sending your body into a parasympathetic nervous system response. We'll do 3 more breaths here, 3 more Ujjayi breaths. Whenever you're ready, just return your breath to normal, in and out through the nose. Take a moment here just to observe anything that's coming up. Might be a sensation in the body. And remember that you are very safe in your yoga container, in your space. And if at any point in class having your eyes closed feels not safe, you can always open your eyes and focus on a particular sight or sound in your periphery or a smell, right? Honing in on your senses so that you remind yourself that you're very much safe where you are right now on your yoga mat. So with our Ujjayi breath, right, we stimulated the vagus nerve and we worked on heart rate variability. The other nerve that I'm going to talk about at the beginning of class is another cranial nerve, a brain nerve called the ocular motor nerve that works with your eyesight. And some of you might be familiar, right? There's an entire branch of therapy around the idea that desensitizing your eyesight helps to calm the body, especially for people in perpetual stress or trauma. And again, one of the cool things about yoga is yoga for thousands of years hasn't just been, moving our body right and left and backward and forward. There's also eye movement in our yoga. So if you practice 26 and 2 yoga with me, right, you hear from the very beginning breath to look way, way, way back, right? Stuff like that. There's this idea of moving our eyes stimulates the ocular motor nerve, and the ocular motor nerve is a parasympathetic nerve. So when we stimulate that eye nerve, we again help to bring the body into the parasympathetic nervous system response, telling the body that there's no need to fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Again, the parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest. It helps with our gut biome, helps us to feel relaxed. So we're gonna do some eye movement here and then incorporate a little bit of body movement too. So start just by looking forward, eyes open, and then without moving your head, look to the right. Keep looking to the right, and now tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder, stretching the left side neck. And if you do need to look at me, it's worth noting that I'm not mirroring you. So it might look like I'm looking to the left and moving my head to the left, when in fact I am moving my head to the right. I will do the right side of postures first in class, unless I forget, which does sometimes happen. Good, keep looking to the right, and now bring your head back to center, and then bring your eyes back to center, look forward. Let's do the other side, look to the left. Keep the head facing forward at first, just looking to the left. And then as you're ready, you're gonna tilt your left ear towards left shoulder, still looking to the left. Let's send a nice slow breath all the way into the abdomen. So another thing when we're a little bit stressed out is that we tend to breathe kind of shallow into the chest. And by breathing into the abdomen, we really start to relax both body and mind. Keep looking to the left and bring your head back to center. I know it feels a little bit weird, and then look forward. Good. Next, we're gonna look up towards the ceiling. And then start to lift your nose and chin. Maybe you just look up a couple inches, maybe head drops back. You're not forcing your neck or your body in any way. And once again, we're just going to take an intentionally slow breath here. Good, keep looking up, and now bring your head back to center. I know it feels a little weird. And then look back straight ahead. Good. This time you're going to look down towards the floor, keep your chin lifted, so it's just the eyes that move at first. And then drop your head down, chin to chest, keep looking down. Relax your face. Tongue at the roof of the mouth, mouth closed, and a deep breath into the abdomen, into the diaphragm. And slowly exhale. Good, keep looking down, bring your head back to center. And then bring your eyes back to center. Good, keep your mouth closed. This time, we're gonna look up and to the right, so you're looking to the right corner of the room. Good, bring your eyes back to center. Look up into the left corner of the room, still breathing. Good, bring your eyes back to center. This time look to bottom right corner of the room. And we're stimulating the ocular motor nerve, which stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, relaxing the body. Good, come back to center, and then look to the bottom left corner of the room, mouth closed, jaw relaxed, breathe. Good, come back to center, last one, which I'm not good at, try crossing your eyes. Now we're going inward. Take a breath here. Good, and then bring your eyes back to center. You can take a few more slow breaths here, in and out through the nose. And just observing anything that's going on in your body. Keep your left knee bent. Kick your right leg out for a nice little inner thigh stretch. Beautiful. Take your right hand outside of your right thigh and reach your left arm long overhead. So now we're starting to wake up the body and move the body with the breath. Also, sometimes when we're stressed out, breathing helps, eye movement helps, but so does just like getting into our body and moving the body. So for the rest of class, we're going to focus more on the asana limb of yoga, the posture limb of yoga, as opposed to the pranayama, the breathing, or the eye movements. Good. Let's take another slow breath here. Good. Slowly come back to center. Take your left hand outside of left thigh. Kick your left leg out, right leg in, keeping left hand outside of left thigh, and reach your right arm long overhead. And as a reminder, this is yoga for deep relaxation. I'm explaining some of the neuroscience of it, as well as the postures and the breathing. This is not yoga for the deepest stretch of your life. So you don't need to like be coming all the way down in this class, right? Just a gentle stretch to move your body. Good. Come back to center. Keep your left leg kicked out. Kick your right leg out. Take your right hand outside of right thigh. And once again, we're going to bring our left arm long overhead. So sometimes in times of stress, we really disassociate from our body and we don't even know like what our body needs, right? Like, am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Do I need to sleep, right? Sometimes we're not even sure what we need. Through yoga, as we become more aware of our body and our body's needs, it's easier for us to regulate and connect to our body outside of our yoga practice too. So for example, if you're noticing that having your left arm overhead does not feel good to your shoulder, right? You're going to listen to what your body's telling you. You can take your arm down and still get the side body stretch without forcing the shoulder. Good. Slowly come back to center. So we're really honoring what our body is telling us. Take your left hand outside of left thigh and reach your right arm long overhead. So with our heart rate variability, right, the inhales and exhales match. And often when we're stressed, we either breathe really shallow, like into the chest, or even like super deep labored breaths. So if at any point in class you find that you're having trouble breathing, you can't breathe, you find that you need to resort to really shallow breaths or you're tensing your jaw, that's a good sign that you might have gone a little bit too far into a yoga posture, right? And you can adjust or take a break or do a little bit less until your heart rate gets back on track. Good. Slowly come back to center, right hand down. Sweep your arms up and overhead. And then slowly fold forward, hands to the floor in front of you. You can stick your butt out a little bit, maybe even rock your hips back, right and left. Roll your shoulders back and down, look forward, breathe. So a nice inner thigh stretch. Good. Slowly walk your hands back in. You're going to take your hands outside of your thighs and bring your knees and feet together. You can take a moment and kind of windshield wiper your feet. Point one toe, flex one toe, draw circles, working out the ankle joint. And then just relax your feet, stick your butt out a little bit, take your right hand outside of right thigh, and once again, reach your left arm long overhead. Drop the shoulder, lengthen the arm, take a breath here. Good. Slowly come back to center, take left hand outside of left thigh and reach your right arm long overhead. Another fun fact, like there's another nerve in your body that also brings the parasympathetic nervous system into play, and it's like the nerves that control your face. So smiling, believe it or not, and like laughing is also a really good way to calm and relax the body. So if at any point in class you feel like smiling or laughing, you're welcome to. Good. Slowly come up to center. Take an inhale, sweep your arms up, and an exhale, fold. One of my favorite things about yoga from home is like, if you want to laugh or smile and it feels a little ridiculous, no one is there to watch you, right? So you can go ahead and have a big belly laugh if that feels good if at any point in class, and you don't have to be self-conscious about other people around you. Roll your shoulders back and down, look forward. Beautiful. Walk your hands back in, come up to center. From here, you're going to bend your knees, sitting in Sukhasana, easy pose with one foot in front of the other. Reach your right arm up, stretching the right side body. And then take your right hand very close behind you, like a second spine. I'm going to show you from the side. So depending on your body proportions, for me, I have a long torso. So if my hand is flat, my hand does not actually touch the floor. I need to tent my fingers. You might find that tenting your fingers helps. Or if you have long arms, right, your palm might come all the way down to the floor, and that's great too. Reach your left arm up and take left hand to right knee. Good. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull abdomen and twist. So now we're twisting the spine. This posture is good for spine health. It's also a nice abdominal wall twist. And as I said, the vagus nerve, right, that goes from the brain and is kind of like a net through all of your organs. It's called the rest and digest nerve for a reason, right? It also has to do with your gut biome. More and more, you know, that saying like trust your gut. It turns out there's neuroscience behind that, right? And our gut, our biome, and our brain actually work in tandem to determine what is safe and what is not. Look back, twist. Good. Slowly unwind, come back to center. Reach your left arm up, stretching left side body. Take left hand close behind you like a second spine. Good. Reach your right arm up, stretching right side body. And place right hand on left knee. Good. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look back, twist. So when we do this spine twist and this abdominal wall twist, right, it's good for the digestion. Again, the same way that our Ujjayi breath, our vibrating breath, stimulated the lungs, which stimulates the vagus nerve. Twisting the abdomen, right, really working out the intestines also helps to stimulate the vagus nerve, right, bringing the body into a parasympathetic nervous system response. So it's not just good for your digestion, it's not just good for your back, it's also good for like your emotional well-being as well. Look back, twist. Good. Slowly, carefully unwind, come back to center. Gonna roll your shoulders forward a few times, backward a few times. Good. Take an inhale, sweep your arms up, palms together. Exhale through your nose, pull your hands through heart center, and just take a moment here with your thumbs touching your sternum. You can bow your head slightly. Okay, we spent this first part of class seated. We spent the first part of class breathing. I explained some of the neuroscience again behind yoga for relaxation. This is the last little bit where we're sitting up. Feel your sit bones on the floor. Feel your thumbs pressing into your heart space. And inhale all the way into the abdomen. If you'd like, open your mouth. Let go of anything you want to let go of. Good. Take your arms down. We're going to turn and lie on our back. We're going to be lying for the rest of class, lying on the floor, right? It's the last part of class, last half of class. It's all about floor work. And now that you have a little bit of maybe the science behind how yoga helps with relaxation, we're really going to focus on the asanas. So here we're in what's called Savasana, corpse pose. We're just allowing our hands, our feet, our head to lie heavy on the floor. Let the floor hold you up. In class again, you're welcome to close your eyes or do a soft, fuzzy gaze beyond the tip of your nose. But if at any point you notice that you're dissociating, right, or it just doesn't quite feel safe in your body, always open your eyes and anchor on something that you see in the room, or you can really open your ears and focus on a sound that you hear, and something that will bring you back into the present moment. So in yoga, we're going inward, but if going inward ever just feels like a little bit too much, you can still be in the present moment with some external stimulus that's still in this space to remind you that you are very safe in your little yoga bubble here. Breathing into the diaphragm and out through the diaphragm. Notice where you might be holding on to tension in your body. With every exhale breath, just start to relax a little bit deeper. The body gets a little heavier.
You're going to bend your knees and roll off to one side. Take your time. Slowly press yourself up, and we're going to start to use our pillows and blankets for the rest of class. So we're going to do a version of a posture called legs up the wall pose, but if you have a wall, you're welcome to keep your feet up the wall, but if you don't, right, you're going to grab some pillows. Also, if you have a couch, you can put your feet up a couch. You're going to grab as many pillows as you want. You can play around with this. And the idea is you're literally going to kick your feet up. Great. And then if you'd like to place a blanket over your body, you are welcome to do so, just so you feel a little bit extra like soft and relaxed. So this is kind of a version of legs up the wall pose for folks without a wall. And the idea here is our feet are elevated, it's higher than our heart. So we get this nice blood flow into the abdomen, into the heart. And kicking our feet up like this is really good for relaxation, for anxiety. I occasionally teach a yoga class that uses a wall as a prop, and I offer the anecdote of a yoga student of mine who has panic attacks and says one of the only things that they've found that really consistently brings them out of a panic attack is kicking their feet up like this. It's also important to notice throughout your yoga practice, take what works for you and leave the rest. For some folks, kicking your feet up like this can be deeply relaxing, deeply restorative. For other folks, it might be kind of fun, but you might not notice much of a shift in how you're breathing or how your body's feeling. And this is okay too, right? Just observing what your body is telling you. And remember that your feelings are simply that. They are things that we feel, and you don't need to attach to them or even assign meaning. Sometimes we get a little sad. It doesn't mean that we're a sad person. Sometimes we, want to laugh. Doesn't mean we're a comedian, right? So we're just observing any passing feelings that come through the body, noticing them, but try not to assign judgment like good or bad. Instead, just observe and relax. We're going to be here for 5 minutes. You can stay anchored in the present moment through your breath. You can stay anchored in the present moment through your senses, right? Like feeling your hands on the floor, maybe even looking at a certain spot on the ceiling. You can also stay anchored in the present moment through a mantra or a word or a phrase. And if there's a certain phrase that's calling to you right now, you are welcome to anchor to that. Otherwise, I will offer the phrase, I am safe in my body. Again, we're just relaxing the body through the breath or through the senses, or even through a word or a phrase or all of the above. And you might notice resistance at some point. Resistance to a breath. Resistance to a sensation in the body. Or resistance to your mantra, particularly if I am safe in my body doesn't feel true right now. It's our brain's job to discern when we're safe and when we're not safe, especially after running around all day. Sometimes when we go slow, when we hold a posture for a while, or when we're still, the brain gets a little confused, a little nervous. This is a nice opportunity to thank your brain for all that it does for you. And then again, through our breath, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system, right? Through our anchoring, whether it's a word, a phrase, or a sensation like a sound or a sight, your body starts to tell your brain that you are in fact safe. I am safe in my body right now. And if at any point in class you do not feel safe, remember that this is your class. You are always welcome to take a different shape with your body, to skip a posture, or even just to take a break and come off of your mat until you feel safe again, and then you can return. This hour, as much as it is about breathing and stretching and relaxing and resting, this hour is also really about you learning to trust yourself. And by extension, your body and your mind learning to trust one another so that they can work together rather than against each other. Give us 2 more minutes here just to breathe and be still. Notice where you might be holding on to some tension. See if you can relax the body just a little bit deeper. Unclenching your muscles as you breathe. We're going to slowly start to come out of our legs up pose. You are welcome to lift your feet up towards the ceiling. And it might be a little unceremonious, but I'm simply going to kick my pillows off to the side. And you are welcome to as well, so that you don't have to sit up. You can just kick them off. Or if you'd like to, right, you can sit up and move them off to the side. And then we're going to return into our Savasana with your arms and legs down. And as we bring as we lower our feet, right, you might notice a temperature change in the lower body, maybe a muscle releases. You might notice an emotional change. And again, we're not assigning judgment like good or bad. Often when I have yoga students who experience some sort of emotional release in a yoga posture. They think that there's something wrong with them, or something like deeply messed up. And while I do encourage everyone to be in therapy, I think we should all be in therapy. Please also keep in mind that having an emotional response to anything, including yoga, is really normal. It's involuntary, and there's nothing wrong with you, right? If nobody's told you this yet today, there's nothing wrong with you. And there's also nothing wrong with you practicing yoga, even if postures sometimes bring some stuff up. Great. If you have a blanket over you like I do, you can slowly bring that blanket off of you, bend your knees, roll off to one side. If you remember maybe the side that you haven't rolled off to yet, and then you're going to keep rolling and roll onto your abdomen. Today, we're going to do a very gentle version of Crocodile Pose. It's a back bend. So you're going to have your feet on the floor about hip width distance. You can bend your arms, catch opposite elbow and opposite hand. So the idea here is with our chest lifted and our abdomen down, we really want to start to breathe into the abdomen. Keeping the chest lifted makes it a little bit harder to do shallow breaths, right? We're again intentionally breathing all the way down into the belly. That's also a nice little back bend. From here, you have an option to keep your elbows bent, clasping opposite hand with opposite elbow, or you can actually give yourself a hug here. It looks like this, right? And then from here, you can even drop your head down so that your chin rests on your arm. So it's very gentle healing compression to the spine, very gentle extension through the chest, right? And if you are placing your hands on your shoulders, you can even give your shoulders a little massage here. And we're just going to hold here for 2 minutes. So there's certain nerves, right? Like the ocular motor nerve, that eye nerve that we worked earlier, or the vagus nerve, right? The wandering nerve. Those nerves stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system response, again, telling the body that it's safe to rest and be calm. Other nerves stimulate the sympathetic nervous system response, which can, again, increase the heart rate or maybe alert your body that something is amiss. And one of those nerves, again, it's a cranial nerve that goes from the base of the neck from the brain into the shoulders, right? Works so that if you're stressed out, what do? You tense up your shoulders, right? That is a nervous system response to stress. And what's really cool and what, yoga has known for a long time and studies in Western medicine are starting to prove is that this stress response is a two-way street. So when we're stressed, we tense up our shoulders, right? And that's that nerve that's associated with the sympathetic nervous system response. So if we can relax our shoulders, right? If we can soothe that nerve rather than activating that nerve, then we start to come back into the parasympathetic nervous response. So really think about relaxing your shoulders here. Again, it might feel good still just to massage your shoulders a little bit more while you're in your crocodile pose. And we're going to hold here for 3 more slow breaths, breathing all the way into the abdomen. Right, from here, you're going to release any grip that you have from your shoulders or your elbows. Slide your elbows out and your palms in. Bring your forehead to the floor. Option to stay here with your forehead on the floor or look to one side. So I'm going to look to my left with my right ear on my mat. You can take a few slow breaths here. Sometimes when we're stressed out, right, we disassociate so much that we almost feel untethered or literally ungrounded. So being on the floor and feeling your body on the floor is a really wonderful way to remind your body that you're very much grounded. And again, you're safe in this container, you're safe in your body, you're safe in this yoga space. If you're looking to one side, you can gently look to the other side, lifting the head, bringing other ear to the floor, and breathe. Gently lift your head, look forward. Place your hands on the floor under your shoulders and work your way up into a seated position. There's no rush. Next, we're going to take another very anchoring yoga pose called Child's Pose. So you're going to start with your knees and feet close together. You have the option to keep your knees together or to open your knees into a wide-legged child's pose. And if your hips are not touching your heels, that is really normal. It's helpful to place some pillows or blankets in between your calves and your thighs, and then you can start to sit down a little bit more. From here, start to walk your hands forward, reach your arms forward, bringing your forehead close to the floor. And if your forehead is not touching the floor, that's also really normal. It might be helpful to have a pillow under your head or under your chest if that helps your body feel more anchored to the floor. From here, you can keep your arms overhead, but if this ever feels like too much on the shoulders, you can also take your arms down by your side, palms facing up, in what's called Fetal Pose, right? And so that way we're still stretching out through the toes, the ankles, the knees, the hips, the lower back, middle back, upper back. But rather than having the arms overhead, which can be, too much on some shoulders, right? The arms are down so the shoulders can relax. And we're going to hold here for 3 minutes. And this posture again is a really great stretch through the hips and the inner thigh. It's really good for lengthening the back, right? Really stretching out the lower back, good for lower back pain, hip mobility. And again, we're able to feel really anchored and rooted to the ground, to the earth. The ground holds you up as you breathe slow breaths all the way in through the nose, the base of the abdomen, and bringing the body into a parasympathetic nervous system response. This is both ancient wisdom that's been practiced for thousands of years through yoga. And also, we're blending like the neuroscience behind it, right? We know that we're calming the body here. Notice where you might be holding on to tension with your body. And see if you can relax just a little deeper. If you find that you're having trouble relaxing, right, you might take a different shape with your body or take a break from the posture. Or you might just imagine what it will feel like one day when the shoulder finally softens. Sometimes a little bit of imagination, just imagining our body in a more relaxed state also helps us have a little bit of hope for the future, a little bit of curiosity, creativity. And through this imagination, right, if we can imagine our body relaxing deeper, and slowly over time, the body catches up and the body does relax a little bit deeper. Let's take 3 more slow breaths here. If you're ready, slowly lift your head, look forward, take your time, walking your hands back in. So you're in a nice lifted position here. Good. Roll your shoulders forward and back. Ooh, my hair is funny looking. And then we're going to turn and make our way back onto your back. Back into Savasana. So some of our relaxation techniques, right, are breath, anchoring through sensations, whether that's sight or sound or smell in the room. That's why sometimes people like to have, like a lavender essential oil or a candle, for example, when they're practicing yoga, because it helps us to anchor in that sense, that scent. Mantra or phrase can be helpful. And as much as yoga is about going inward and focusing inward, there's also space to wish others well. And so here in the Savasana, if you'd like, you can continue to nurture yourself and kind of give yourself some love here, just really sending love towards yourself as if you're a dear friend. Or you can also imagine sending love towards someone else in your life, right? It could be a family member or friend, or maybe like a neighbor, right? Or a grocery store worker, but just taking a moment here to either be in deeper relationship with yourself or a little bit of loving relationship with someone else. And if you are sending this love to someone else, remember that you have been the recipient of the same intention at some point in your life, whether it's through prayer or meditation, or just someone who loves you, or even like a neighbor or stranger really noticing you and sending you that love. Yoga helps us go inward. Mindfulness helps us go inward. The yoga and mindfulness also help to remind us that being in community and in relationship with others, on the one hand, can cause stress, and on the other hand, is a vehicle for relaxation as well. If you're sending this love, this care, this intent towards another person, notice what that feels like in your body and where you feel it. Maybe in your chest, right, or your shoulders. And then holding on to this feeling of deep love, start to send that back to yourself. And again, you might notice resistance or relief. Just slowly turning back inward, giving yourself love and praise and admiration and affection as you would a dear friend. Our last posture of the day is a back bend with an optional hip opener. And bend your knees and roll off to one side and slowly press yourself up.
So for the back bend, you're going to take some pillows and you're going to sit facing away from the pillows. So you want at least one pillow for your middle back, and then another pillow or two for your head. So the idea is that your chest, your ribs will be the highest part of your body, but your head is not hanging all the way off. You want support for your head. And it might take a while to play around with the right pillow combination here. So keep in mind that there's some trial and error involved. As you're ready, you're going to lie back, bend your knees, feet on the floor. And again, the chest and ribs start to open, but your head is not hanging all the way off. From here, you can have your arms down to the side, out to the side. And then with the lower body, you have a few options. You can keep your knees bent with your feet on the floor about hip width distance, knees resting together. You can straighten your legs to the back of your mat. Or if you'd like, you can take an optional hip opener. Start to, with the knees bent and feet on the floor, start to open your knees so that the soles of your feet come in. And if you would like pillows for underneath your knees, you're also welcome to grab pillows there. Otherwise, letting the knees relax out. The closer you bring your hips, the closer you bring your heels towards your pelvis, the more intense the hip opener. The more you bring your feet towards the back of your mat, the more you still get a hip opener, but it's not quite as intense. So when we do heart openers like this and hip openers, they can stimulate the central nervous system, right? You might find that your heart rate increases. And part of what we're doing here after practicing our breath, our eye movements, our mantras, our phrases, our sending love towards ourselves, sending love towards others. We're going to incorporate all of that here so that even if you do feel an activation in your nervous system, you can practice some slow breaths in and out through your nose. You can practice anchoring through an object in the room, or a sound in your periphery, or a smell or a taste, or a sense, right? Like your hands heavy on the floor. Can pick a mantra or phrase of your choice. And if nothing comes to mind, I will offer the phrase, I am loved. And maybe with or without this phrase, you can again practice really going inward and sending yourself love, or taking turns sending love to someone else and then bringing that back to you. In our crocodile pose, right, we practice relaxing the shoulders to deactivate the nerve in the brain through the shoulder that stimulates the sympathetic nervous system response. And here as well, when we're opening through our hips, our chest, where we tend to carry tension, by relaxing through these parts of the body, we're also, again, sending a sign to the body that even if some stress is kind of making its way out, we're still very much safe. We're very much loved. And if at any point you need to change shapes or take a break, you are welcome to as well. Because remember, this is your body and your yoga practice. And not only are we practicing our breath, our body movements, our going inward, our concentration, meditation, we're also practicing boundaries with ourselves and really listening to what it is that our body needs from us in this moment and honoring that. We'll hold here for one more minute.
Take 3 more slow breaths here, all the way into the diaphragm. If you're in your hip opener, you can place your hands outside of your thighs and slowly bring your knees back together so your feet are on the floor, knees resting together. If your legs are straight, you can also bend your knees so that your feet are on the floor. There's no one way to get out of this. You could, of course, roll off to the side or elbow yourself up. I will share my favorite technique. Press your feet firmly into the floor, heels into the floor. Squeeze your glutes, lift your hips, and remove the pillows from the lower middle back. From here, you can lift your head, and you can remove one or both pillows, or any pillow from your head. I will also offer that this is our final Savasana, and if you would like to keep a pillow under your head, you are welcome to do so. From here, you're welcome to keep your knees bent with your feet on the floor, knees resting, or you can bring your legs down, legs straight. And if you'd like, you can also add a little blanket for over your body. So again, you just feel a little extra weight on your body, a little extra relaxation. Again, sending lots of intentional signals here to your body that it's a safe place to rest and relax. And you can close your eyes or do a soft fuzzy gaze beyond the tip of your nose. Or if it helps to anchor to the ceiling or another object in your periphery that feels calming, you're welcome to do so. Open your arms and legs as much or as little as you'd like, making a shape that feels good and relaxing to you. And then we'll just return to our breath. Inhale, body rise. Exhale, body fall. It can be through the nose or the mouth. The choice is yours. Good. Inhale. Just slowly exhale. Breathe in. And empty out. These are all ancient techniques that have been practiced for a long time, helping us to relax deeper, to get out of our minds and back into our body. And sometimes, unfortunately, some of the studies that are done around pranayama breath techniques or eye movement or body movement, sometimes science journals don't cite the origins of these, even though science in general, right, we want to cite our sources. And so through yoga, we're both, using techniques like breath, like movement to calm the nervous system. But we're also really honoring the ancient roots of this practice, all of the yogis that have come before us, all of the yogis that will come after us. And again, it's back not just going inward, but into a relational dynamic with our fellow yogis, right? With our body, with our breath, that we start to heal and relax a little bit deeper. So remember that while yoga is deeply personal and an opportunity to go inward, you are also never alone, particularly in yoga, right? Think about how many millions of people have practiced Savasana pose, which you're in right now. Think about all the people in the world in Savasana right now, taking a yoga class or just doing their own little home practice, right? Just taking this intentional stillness. Moment here to acknowledge, right, how very loved you are, how unique you are, how special you are. And also remember that you have other people to rely on, that it's safe to ask for help, and that it starts just by asking the floor for help, letting the floor hold you up. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in and empty out. You can stay in your final Savasana for as long as you'd like. When you do choose to get up, I invite you to get up mindfully. You want to sit up a little for a while before you stand up, especially if you have low blood pressure, you've been on the floor for a while. And also keep in mind, a lot of the current studies that have been done in the last 10 years in relationship to yoga and trauma and stress and neuroscience. Some of them are done, with just one yoga class, but a lot of the studies take place over the course of like 20 weeks, right? Where people repeatedly come back to a yoga practice. So it's not just the breathing or the body movements, it's the repetition of the breathing and the body movements, intentionally holding space for yoga, that has been shown to really help our nervous systems to regulate and relax. So make sure that you're incorporating these breathing techniques and body movements, into your weeks to come as well, whether it's a formal yoga class or just some intentional slow breaths and maybe a child's pose or Savasana every night. A wonderful rest of your evening. It's a joy to be here with all of you.